Welcome back to Delta Waterfowl's The Voice of the Duck Hunter podcast. I'm your host, Joel Brice. Today we're going back to Oklahoma City for another great episode recorded from the show floor during Delta's 2025 Duck Hunters Expo. If you have a passion for public lands, from hunting ducks on them to ensuring they stay public, then this episode is for you. I'm joined by two guys who've built a lifestyle, brand, and some might even say a movement around finding ducks the hard way on public land and cherishing and sharing every bit of its ups and downs. Dennis, Dr. Duck Loosier, and Billy the Fowl Hunter Campbell have made it their mission to present an authentic perspective and portrayal of chasing greenheads on public ground. Let's get into their story, what drives them, and why public land hunting access is a legacy worth protecting. Dennis Loosier, Billy Campbell, welcome to the Delta Waterfowl podcast.
Joel, thanks for having us.
Yes, Joel, thank you. It's an honor to be here and be a part of this show with Delta Waterfowl, so it's a real privilege to sit here with you.
Yeah, you guys do so much. We're only, 4.5 hours from home here. Turned out already, it's early, but this is just an incredible event, a great facility, close to home, and very thankful for all you guys do for conservation.
Yeah, on our way over here, on our walk over here, we noticed the crowd here is, to be on a Friday on a work day, is got a good crowd here for a Friday.
It is. It's definitely really good. And I think it'll pick up, Saturday will be a big day. Sunday, surprisingly, is a big day. But I think, hey, pro tip, I think Sunday's the day where people come back to try to buy things, right? So nobody has to pack it into their trailer and take it home.
Right, or get the good discount.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's a really good thing here.
Yep.
Hey, so just in case, I introduced you by the names that your parents gave you, I'm assuming, but maybe they don't recognize that. Probably do. But let's go with Dr. Duck.
Yes, sir.
And the Fowl Hunter.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do people call you the Fowl Hunter, or is that more just kind of your internet moniker?
Yeah, it's just started with the Instagram thing, carried across all the social platforms. Billy most of the time. It's funny because it's always Dr. Duck. Anybody that walks up to that meets us, it's, hey, Dr. Duck and Billy.
Yeah. Every once in a while we get one that says the Fowl Hunter.
Yeah.
If he's trying to get your attention and doesn't quite remember your name, he's like, hey, there's the Fowl Hunter. Right? We see that a lot, too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, of course, you guys have a business.
Mm-hmm.
Love to share that. Let's
Thank
assume
you.
we have a few new listeners here. But you guys have a prominent social media presence. You have a show. Does that go out on YouTube? Is that where
Yes,
that
sir.
lives?
Yes, sir. It goes on YouTube, and, of course, Realtree shares it on their platform on 365 as well. So we're very blessed to work with those guys and live on that platform. So if you don't have the YouTube channel, the 365 is a Realtree app that you can download and watch all their videos on there. Just not only us, but other hunting shows as well.
That's great. And then, obviously, you guys have a gear line.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We do bags. We got the waterproof bag. The Journey bag is coming back.
Journey bag is back. It's kind of a big deal for us this year. We had spent, Dennis and I together have 60-plus years hunting in the outdoors and chasing ducks, and we had spent a lot of time trying to find a good bag for us, and it was just something over the years that we felt like we could work on and design the perfect bag, and we feel like we came up with a pretty good one, and it's been sold out for a couple years. We're a family-owned business. It's just Dennis and I. We do this out of his air conditioning shop behind his house right there in East Texas. So, but the bags are back this year. So we do hats and shirts and stuff to help promote the Dr. Duck brand. But the bags has been a big deal for us, and we're very excited to have that waterproof bag back this year.
And when we say waterproof, it's technically 100% waterproof. It's submergible proof. So
No kidding.
Wetsuit zippers. It's got a real cool organizational structure inside that you can change to fit whatever gear you want to load in it. You can also, it's got removable tree straps, and it's really got all the little things some folks hadn't thought about combined into one bag. And I actually use a sample that we developed years ago is my favorite traveling bag for carry-on. So you can change it to adapt to whatever you're doing with it, and it's been a great bag. It's a fun project for us to work on together.
Well, if I remember right from prior conversations, those designs are probably born out of your own experiences, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Whoever made the first one of something had it for a reason, really, right?
Right, and I think mine and Billy's problem is just that everything was wet all the time, either rain or falling in or just stepping in and out of the boat and just throwing your bag at the bottom and it absorbs the water off the bottom of the boat. Just going through all that process, or even if you're hunting the blinds, guess what? Bottom of the blind's usually wet, and if if you don't have enough seating room, you got to put your bag between your legs or underneath your seat, and guess what? It's absorbing water. So just coming up with all the scenarios and hunting all those scenarios and creating a bag that can fit the whole any scenario that you're hunting, from the trees to the blind bag or even out of your boat. That's what we created. So it's very versatile and 100% waterproof.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome. Hey, I know you guys are running a business, but I'll tell you that I have this magnetic attraction to industry brands who have a mission in addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's conservation benefits. What I love about you guys is your affinity for public land hunting,
Yes.
right? Because let's be honest with you, depending on what part of the world you live in, that's what a lot of folks, that's all that they have access to.
Right.
Right? And
Especially nowadays.
it is.
Yes.
There are a lot of outfitters. Used to be you could knock doors was kind of a common. I would put knocking doors in public ground in the same category back in the day. You're going out, you're trying to get permission or access property that's available to you that you do not own. And over the years, with the number of outfitters in various states has increased so much. A lot of people like to say public land is so crowded. And yes, we are seeing an increase in the amount of people accessing it, but it's only because all the private property that you used to be able to door knock is unavailable to these young gentlemen anymore.
And just even if an outfitter doesn't have it, it's also the cost of it too. Leasing a piece of property now is just it's gone up so much. Our younger generation just can't afford it. So public ground is a big key factor for a lot of these young men and women to have access to have an opportunity to waterfowl hunt.
That is a concern that, as it turns out, we share. But one of my concerns for the future of hunting, you tend to think of the animal rights groups. You tend to think of those who are against hunting. Maybe that is the demise of hunting. But that slow silent killer is duck hunting can get really expensive.
It can get really expensive, and then the regulations on top of what's coming with the public ground too. Different states are going to these regulations is another slow cut.
Yeah.
That's restricting, because you got to think about it. When I look at regulations, I don't think about myself. I think about the kid from Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina. I get to hear the stories as we travel do these shows, and the stories that they tell, and they have to go to these public grounds, and then the out-of-state restrictions on top of what they have to endure is a big slow death sentence. Because you got to think about it. Hunting season's during the holidays. You got Thanksgiving and Christmas, and a lot of these young men have jobs, or they're going to school. They're trying to do things right, but also they still want to try to get out and enjoy the outdoors. And the reason I can say that or testify to that, because I have two young men in my family. They're my sons, and they have the same situation. It's hard for them to get away between work and family obligations during those holiday times. And so I just, anytime I think anybody has perspective and control the outdoors, I think you got to think about just not your own son and daughter. I think you got to think about everybody in general, and you can't just think about your own state. You got to think about all the other states, because eventually those guys are not going to be able to get outdoors. They're not going to be able to introduce their kids to the outdoors, and there you go. We're losing people every day.
We are. We absolutely are. One of the things that I've also come to learn about you guys, and I want to set each one of you up for an answer, but you guys are successful hunters in your own right, successful at harvesting birds. But one of the things that I've come to admire is that, in your videos and your podcasts and your discussions, you talk about good hunts, you talk about, got a harvested a bag limit a particular day. Sure, that's important. That's why we hunt, right? We're make no apologies. We're trying to shoot a limit of birds on most days, but you guys shine such a spotlight on the journey, on the experience. Because at the end of the day, I always tell people if a successful hunt is only measured in how many ducks you got that day, you're gonna have a whole bunch of bad hunts potentially, right?
Right.
But if you focus on the experience, the camaraderie, the journey, you're going to have a great hunt every single time you go out.
Every time. I think some of the most of the memories, and Billy can testify, is not sometimes most of our memories is the boat breaking down, how we get back to the boat ramp. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on.
Falling in.
Yeah, I mean, and you sit back, it ain't funny at the time, but when you get in your truck and you're warm again, it's funny, and you think about all those experiences, so it's part of it. But.
And, Joe, I appreciate you noticing that. I think a common question, you could probably attest to this, you get together at a great event like you guys are hosting here today, and a gentleman walks up that you may be familiar with. The question he's going to ask is, hey, how many ducks y'all shoot last year?
Yeah.
And a lot of people that do what we do like to keep journals, and we fell into that same category for years. And it got to where I know the weather, what time of year it is, the weather, the water levels. Dennis is great. I mean, all duck hunters pay attention to those things all the time.
Yeah.
And you call me up and say, let's go hunt tomorrow, my answer would be to look at that book and say, I don't think I'm going to go today. Mm-hmm. This are the exact same conditions, and we didn't shoot anything that day. And sometimes I just think people get really honed in on that, how many ducks did you shoot? And there's just like you said, man, I can remember, I couldn't tell you anything I ever shot with my dad. We chased squirrels all the time, and I lost my father at an early age. And those memories of sharing that time with him are so vital to me now that he's gone. And it was never about what we shot or how many we shot. It was just that time together. And
yeah.
I found somewhere along the line that the more time we spent, that we could spend focusing on the sunrises, the boat rides. I mean, this guy, it's scouting. He is the killer of the group, no doubt. But honestly, if he didn't shoot ducks, he gets so much out of scouting. I can go scout and I can hit 5 locations. I can tell you where the birds need to be. He'll get stuck in one location, Joe, and he'll sit there for hours. He wants to watch how the birds are working, where they're coming in, so he'll know where he's going to set up, how his decoys need to look, how many people he can hide. And I'm like, how many spots did you check? Oh, I just checked one.
Well, there's a lot to it, and scouting is another information, but it's to me
all part of the journey.
It's part of the journey, because what really upsets me the most, and there again at these shows we have so many young men come by the booth, and older guys too, and the number one question is the number one thing I used to waterfowl hunt a lot, but I don't anymore because they were focused on the numbers and they don't go as much. And anytime you start focusing on numbers and you start focusing on kills, you're going to get frustrated, mm-hmm. and you forget about what you're really there for, because you're worried about the number of kills. And when you're not meeting that quota that you think you should be meeting, then you start dropping out and then you're quitting. And you're getting frustrated, and it's not fun to you anymore.
Right.
So we always work. And
it's just
mindset.
Like you said, Joe. You're going to have more bad days if you focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't apologize for being happy when I shoot a limit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's what you try to go do.
Yeah, exactly. Make no apologies. So if I understand this right, Dennis, you kind of have a phrase that I understand that you repeat: enjoy the journey.
Mm-hmm.
What unbox that for me? Where does that come from?
Well, it's just what we just talked about, and Billy and I, we believe enjoying the journey. It's getting out there and enjoying your group of friends. It's, duck hunting's real close to golf. When you go golfing, I know you're trying to shoot that low score, but you're there with your friends and the camaraderie that you're having in there. Same thing you can experience in duck hunting. I think that's why duck hunting's really popular with our young men, because they are social guys, right?
Yeah.
And they like to talk and they like to communicate. I'm thinking, if I look out across this walkway here and I see all these young people here, if you take those guys and you stick them in a blind by themselves and you take that phone away, they wouldn't last 5 minutes in it, right? But if you put 2 or 3 friends with them in that blind, they probably sit there all day.
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing with duck hunting. So you're allowed to be social and talk. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about what wind directions to get your good bow shot or anything like that. So to me, I think that's the driving point of it.
Well, that's great. That's great. There's far worse slogans to have associated with a person's name, right?
Yeah. So that's Billy and I, we really try to focus on that and get guys to focus on that, enjoy the journey. Because at the end of the day, all you got's a cold, wet duck.
Well, I forgive me, guys, for just lingering on this, because I think it's so important, right? Like, I think you guys have a persona out there, right? Obviously, you have a loyal following, but I just think it's really important for people to understand kind of the depth behind you guys, right? And just to kind of to share that spotlight, Billy, I understand, this is a phrase that I understand that is attached to you. Maybe not a phrase, but you believe that access, education, and community are the key to the future of duck hunting or waterfowl hunting. Would you own that one?
We would own it together. Community, when you talk about that journey, you are sharing. It's not like if I go to a tank on private property, the guy I carry with me or the landowner's the only guy I'm going to see out there. Mm-hmm. The amount of time that we spend on public ground over the course of a season is a lot. Mm-hmm. And we are going to have interaction with other members of this duck hunting community the entire time. You're going to run into them at the boat ramp, wherever you crash, lay your head down. Obviously, lots of people are trying to get where the ducks are. You're going to run into those people trying to secure spots. Mm-hmm. How we conduct ourselves and the impact that we have on others, that gets back to the journey thing. And inside of this community, you mentioned just a few moments ago, Joel, some of these folks that probably aren't too happy on how accessible guns are and the complications they could make for a community like ours moving forward. Mm-hmm. If we, inside that community, all can't do a better job of getting along, they're just going to sit back and laugh and watch us tear it apart ourselves. So when we talk about that journey and we talk about that community, I have watched this gentleman here get beat to a spot, and he's going to shake their hand, tell them good luck, hope you shoot every one of them, and we're going to slide on down the road. And on the other end of that, if we get a spot and we have room, the first thing we want is to share that time with you. You're part of the same community. We are all on the same team. And when he said that at the end of the day, it's just a cold, wet duck, that's it.
Yep.
But it can be a lot more, right? It can be new friendships, sharing time together, sharing that experience, sharing that journey that we talk about. And I think over the long haul, educating our young people to understand that, okay, I'm going to public ground, I'm going to have some interaction with other folks, and I want that interaction to be positive, because the relationships you can build and what that will do moving forward for this industry is the biggest thing that we got going for us, I think.
It is. You're right. Yeah, let's say it's a certainty that for some percentage of the time the hunting community is battling those outside. Why the heck battle inside, man?
Exactly.
That's why we always come up with the same team. We are all on the same team. And like Billy said, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some, but it's no different than any other sport, right? You lose a football game on Friday night, what do? You walk across there and you shake hands, and you go get ready for the next game.
Good game.
That's a heck of a point right there.
It's the same thing in waterfowl is what we got to do. What we do on the field, whether it's baseball, football, or any of that, we have to do that on the water as well. We have to understand you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You got plans, and you expect it to go this way. Well, it just didn't work out that way. You just got to understand how to overcome that and just get prepared and try again tomorrow. And, just a short story. I mean, a couple years ago, we go in, we kill a lot of ducks in this situation, in this hole. A kid shows up. Guess what? We're running in waders, basically. He shows up. He outsmarted us. He showed up in blue jeans and tennis shoes. Mm-hmm. He ran and he got it. I shook his hand, told him congratulations. We had to go find a C plan, which it was a mud puddle. I mean, we actually had to stick the keel of the decoy in the mud just to have a place to hunt. But you know what? We ended up we still killed a few ducks out of there, and we made the best of our situation that we possibly could, and we still had one of the best times ever. So you still can turn your bad situation into a good situation and still have a good hunt. And it didn't matter if
while treating everybody with a high level of respect.
Respect, So I think that's just the way it's got to be. You're not going to win every time. You're not going to kill ducks every time. It's just getting out there and enjoying it and make it the best you can make it and not get mad and upset at somebody else.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Before we hit the record button, out of respect, I wanted to make sure you guys were comfortable talking maybe a little bit about some strategy in case we went that route. And you had just an awesome answer. I'm kind of wondering if you can crack that one open again. But
yeah, mine and Billy's philosophy is that we do these podcasts and we try to do learning podcasts on there because, I had some guys reach out to me and say, look, you're running it for everybody and you're making it harder on yourself. And I have a different perspective, and Billy does too, is that we want everybody to be educated, especially on public ground, because if I got a guy that's educated duck hunter that's hunting next to me, it increases our odds to kill ducks, technically.
Right.
I'd rather have somebody educated next to me than uneducated that doesn't know what's going on, and it ruins it for both of us. So I think the more we can do on the education part and teaching these young men that's just getting into waterfowl that didn't have a father or a grandfather to show them how, but they want to become part of our family, I think it's our job and our obligation to teach them as much as possible so you can enjoy your experience, his experience, and my experience is on that as well.
And it's not limited, Joe, in my opinion, to just the hole either. There are lots of situations where you'll see somebody sitting in a cut, and maybe there's 3 duck holes accessible on this cut off of this river. And I've seen situations where uneducation would lead people to not want to talk, and then you don't know what's really going on. And I've watched Dennis over the years and learned from that as well. We're capable to go up and just say, hey, where are you guys planning on hunting today? Well, we're going to hunt hole B off of this cut today. And Dennis will say, okay, perfect. We'll go to hole C. You don't have anybody racing around. Everybody could take their time. Everybody knows what's going on. But a more educated young man going in that morning will be able to know, hey, let's communicate with these people and let's make sure everybody knows what's going on. Let's treat each other with respect, and it just makes everything go smoother.
And for me, I just want people to understand, I have 2 sons, and I try to teach them all I can about waterfowl, but I also, it doesn't have to be your own son or daughter that you need to be teaching. If you're a waterfowl hunter and you got the knowledge and you should be wanting to share that knowledge, just not only with them, with everybody, and so we can make this sport grow in a positive manner. That's been our key focus from day one.
And it don't mean sharing a pen.
Yeah, it doesn't mean sharing a pen, but teaching them how to set up their decoys, maybe giving them duck call lessons, and then, showing the right method of shooting. You don't want to shoot so far out. You want to make sure the ducks are working in, and not sky busting. That's the number one complaint on public ground is sky busting. Well, maybe they just didn't know. Maybe nobody's taught them the proper way of getting those ducks in, So just anything. So that's what I'm saying. You help yourself out by teaching these guys the right way to duck hunt, because if you got somebody sky busting next to you, then your chances,
morning's done.
Your morning's done. So the more he knows, the better he can call, the better he can set up his decoys, increases my odds.
that makes a lot of sense. I guess I never really thought about it that way. The other one, I certainly don't think that I know everything at all, not even close. But
no, I don't either.
But I'm surprised at the simplicity of some of the things that I feel like I've learned for the first time. When you talked about 2 football teams battling it out, looking at the calendar, oh, we're playing that team, battle it out, trying to beat each other, game's over, shake your hand, good game, right? And I never thought about duck hunting that way, because hunters are competition for other hunters, right?
On public ground, it is. Yes.
You typically want that spot, or maybe you want the lease or something like that. But at the end of the day, so let's kind of, and rather than demonize the competition, maybe we can celebrate it, right?
Right.
And if you win, great. If you lose the spot, if you lose access to that spot, but at the end of the day, that's a human being, who's out there trying to do the same thing as you, shake their hand.
Shake their hand. I mean, you can't win them all. I mean, it's hard to go through waterfowl season as many days as it is to go undefeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's impossible, especially if you're spending a lot of time like me and Billy are on public ground, and we come to realize that. And when we are successful, we enjoy it, just like anybody else. But we also enjoy to figure out the situations that we're put in. That's not the best situations, but sometimes it's really fun to put those puzzles together. And it's really more enjoyable when you figure it out and you went through all that struggle from 4 a.m. to shooting light, trying to figure out where you're going to get, how you're going to set up, and then you have any success. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 ducks.
Right.
But you appreciate those 1 or 2 ducks just more than you do a limit, because all the struggle you went through that morning just to get a spot to get a duck down in the hole is a big accomplishment.
That's right.
You don't have to have a full strap every time you go to have success. There's other ways of having success in waterfowl hunting. Just instead of pulling
why do you guys place such an emphasis? Genuine question, curious. Why do you guys place such an emphasis on public land? Does it have something to do with your upbringing, your early experiences?
Well, I think for us,
We were poor folk, Joe.
yeah.
I mean, it is upbringing, in all honesty. We didn't have access to private property.
I mean, honestly, there was times, me and my wife, she'll tell you, we couldn't rub 2 nickels together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's, not having the money to get on a lease and public ground was your only access. So that's why I think mine and Billy's passion is to watch this thing survive. We would like to see it grow. We would like to see states buy more public ground. I know a lot of people are against that, but for me to create more access for young men and women to get out and enjoy the great outdoors is what we try to preach about. We're not a fan of states regulating out-of-state guys, because it's to me there again,
Another slow cut.
It's another slow cut to access, and just a slow death sentence, in my opinion. Eventually, it will.
Well, you heard, we had just enough time to run out and hear you had some great state politicians and some great representatives of Delta for the ribbon cutting for the opening of this event this morning. And I apologize, I won't remember his name, but the gentleman, your representative, who lived in Texas, who wanted to make sure his Texas friends didn't hear him say he enjoyed coming to Oklahoma to hunt for the last 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We're blessed enough to live in an area of East Texas that I can be in Louisiana, Arkansas, or Oklahoma in 2 hours or less. So even though I don't call them home, and Texas is my home, these places are very close to my home and very convenient for me to touch. Oklahoma itself increased out-of-state licenses by $100 or so last year. They added another $100 public waterfowl stamp this year. For me to go to Arkansas just to hunt the 30 days is all they'll give me over there. It's $800 for me to hunt 30 days of public land in the state of Arkansas. So I'm not dogging on these states. Both these great states have some awesome opportunity on public. But as that price continues to go up in an already expensive sport, and then that, everybody's well aware that Kansas tried to dictate what days you could be there. Arkansas has dictated the time you can go there. So if we're increasing prices, we're dictating or decreasing days that you can visit and hunt these places. These young men and women that Dennis is talking about who are available for maybe a week and a half or 2 during a specific break, now I don't even know if they're able to visit those places. And if they are, can they even afford it? And that's just those slow cuts we're talking about. Long term, is that really where this needs to be going? And I know that's a difficult conversation to have for a lot of people, but it's one we're trying to get the ball rolling on. I think as much as some folks hate to see more competition, the competition is good, especially when you can treat each other with a high level of respect. And if we want to grow and keep these dollars coming for conservation, we have to keep getting new people involved. And you guys do as great a job as anyone with the R3 stuff and the new recruiting of young kids that get into these things. And we got to be able to keep them around. And if we can't provide affordable access to what is our public ground, they're not going to be here very long, I don't think.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about public land, I think there's two big themes that kind of jump out, and I'd be curious to get your guys' take on it. The one that you hear a lot about overcrowding,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and when I talk about overcrowding on public lands, I very quickly point out it is not because the number of duck hunters is climbing through
That's
the roof.
right.
Duck hunters are probably, I'm just going to go out there, I don't have the data in front of me to support this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Of the hunting segments, duck hunting, if it's not the fastest declining, it's real close. But we're losing duck hunters like crazy. So, you know, when someone says there's so many people on public ground, they might be right. But I think it comes from just declining access elsewhere.
That's right.
More leasing, and I'm not demonizing anything with this statement, but more leasing, more outfitting, more urban sprawl, you know, just loss of access to traditional hunting areas now that property is being used for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys seeing that
Well, the
crowding trend?
worst end of that, Joe, you're exactly right. And the worst end of that is while outfitters are leasing up this property, and like we were talking about earlier, as the door knocking becomes less accessible, and these people are pushed to public, we're the ones seeing the regulations.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to regulate something, it seems like to me, and I'm not in favor of any more regulations from the government, but if you are regulating something, why wouldn't you be addressing the issue? And the issue is, I agree with what you just said. It's not, there are not, you are right. I have looked at the data. There are not more duck hunters. There are just people being pushed to public because they want to duck hunt, because there is no access on private, because it's all being leashed up. And even if it's not leashed up, you got a landowner who's had a poor experience with someone, or it's leashed up. I mean, and there's just no access.
It's leased up to, you know, you got some I talk to young guys all the time, they had a great lease, but somebody come in and just offered more money and knocked them out of the lease, you know. So you see that a lot as well. But, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's, you know, we got to look at the whole picture, and access and having access to private land is diminished a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and then also on top of that too, on the public grounds too, you know, when we were growing up, you know, our parents or whatever, you know, they worked Monday through Friday. They had Saturday, Sunday off, and to get a sick day, you probably had to go to the doctor and get it excused. And it's not like that anymore. I mean, you got college kids now that don't even have to go to the classroom. It's online now, so it gives them more opportunity, which I'm not opposed to that. I'm proud for them. And they're in the woods, so that makes me even better. I mean, more happier for them. But they have more access. They have more time off. And to get time off from work is a lot easier than it was 15 or 20 years ago as well, too. So I think some of that has a little – if you throw a percentage, I think you have to put that in that category as well.
People are able to hunt. Yeah. That certain demographic is able to hunt more frequently.
Yes. Instead of having just Saturday and Sunday, they can hunt Monday through Friday a little bit easier.
Thought about that.
A little easier than what it used to be in the past.
We talked about this before I hit the record button, but the last podcast that we released at Delta, I had two of my coworkers, John Devney and Cyrus Baird, and the whole topic of that conversation was access and infrastructure, public lands.
Mm-hmm.
And so access is probably the biggest barrier for hunters to become, or people to become a hunter. They don't have a place to go, or they lost a place. But the other one is this slow decline in, I guess, infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, condition of boat ramps, roads, water control structures, riprap, dikes, levees, things like that. Staff, a lot of the state or federal hunting grounds have lost staff. They've had declining budgets, and starting to see there's been cracks in the system for a long time. Now we're starting to see some of the infrastructure breaking, literally. And, you know, that a public hunting ground that is worthless for ducks unless the water is managed. So their pumps are broken or things like that. So what our policy team is really working on is solutions, right? Trying to help with establishing government-level funding mechanisms to restore that infrastructure, to restore staffing to a lot of these places.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hunt a lot of different public land. Have you seen anything of what I'm talking about? Have you seen any declines, any challenges that the managers are facing?
Well, I see one in our state, and it's a very popular place there. And you have to check in and check out, and it's one of the most popular places. And talk to the game warden about it. It's probably one of the more popular places in Texas, and it gets a lot of funding. The only thing I see there, the boat ramp is horrendous. Like you are lucky to leave there with both your tail lights in place. So, but the road is mowed down each side is the only thing I can see. Now, far as planting habitat, zero. Boat ramp, like I said, it's terrible. And then you talked about the state of Texas always bragging about we have a surplus, right? Bragging about it. Well, let's see some of that surplus go back to our public grounds where we are managing it. Maybe we can get more biologists. Maybe we can get things planted for our public land guys so we can create more success for these guys. There's a lot, I think, the state of Texas, and I can say this because that's my home state. I don't want to say anything for Oklahoma or Arkansas or anything. I do see some things that goes on there as well. But for the state of Texas, to me, the main thing I feel like they're really honed in on is the horns. We're known for the deer hunting.
Sure.
I think we have more access to public ground. I think we got a lot of young waterfowlers that we could create a lot of opportunity. There's a few lakes I can point it out to them if they need some help that we can start creating better access, better habitat for waterfowl, and we're losing a lot of waterfowl not because they want to migrate that far anymore. It's just because we don't have the habitat to hold them and keep them there.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of things I see in my home state. And Billy, you're more than welcome to share what you see as well.
I think on that topic, we are blessed with the opportunity to travel a good bit, and we do build some good relationships. And we've had the opportunity in some of these other states to talk to gentlemen who do. If we have an opportunity to meet a guy that's running a WMA in another state that we visit, it's our honor to shake his hand and thank him for what he does.
Every time.
And it's interesting when we get to have the conversations with these gentlemen about it would be easy to go in and say, hey, this and this and this should be done. Well, maybe you got a beaver problem that came into play, and that's about all that one gentleman could keep up with that entire time. And I know the situation varies from place to place, but these folks, every one of them that I've met are so proud to have the position that they do, to do what they do for a piece of property like they take care of. Mm-hmm. But it's very common to see exactly what you're talking about as far as limited resources.
Yeah.
And not only that side of it, but there's a political side of that too, of what got approved for them to do this year or in the next 5 years. And a lot of times you'll hear them say their hands are tied. And we're not a big part of that process, and I probably have a very limited understanding of that. But I do, my point is that the guys in those positions managing these properties are very proud to do what they do, and they do a great job and work very hard. And there is an issue with the resources available. And, you guys are well aware there are a lot of people who do this who don't mind kicking in the money.
Right.
And I applaud you guys for trying to look for solutions, because I see we get to hear and see a lot of duck hunters complaining about it. But the real deal is finding those solutions and ways to fix it. So I think that's great that you guys are attacking that.
Yeah, my mom always told us, I have two brothers, little whiny, complaining boys, at one point there. And she says, you can bring me a problem, but you got to bring me two solutions. So I think we take that along with us. I do think that a lot of hunters out there, when they think of hunting on public land, I tend to think that they have negative thoughts.
Tail whooping.
Oh, public land. Oh, it's no good. But, I can't help but think, because I don't lease. I don't, I knock on doors or hunt public land. That's it. That's all I do. But reflecting back on it, I can't help but believe that my public land hunting experience has taught me more about how to be a successful hunter than my private land hunting experience. What do you guys think about that?
There's no doubt. I mean, anytime you get to hunt public ground, and anytime you're hunting a place that has a lot of ducks, you're going to have a lot of hunters. That's just basic. I mean, you're not the only one that's going to find them. That's bottom line. There's going to be, so anytime you got neighbors around you, and 9 times out of 10, those guys know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So it increases your, I guess, your skill levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shortens the learning curve for sure.
It does. So it increases that. And so when you do go to other places, and Texas is probably one of the states I could testify, because when ducks get across that Red River, they have an Ivy League education. Bottom line, they done seen it, heard it, and they done been through it all. So it does. I tell young men and women all the time, if you can kill ducks in the state of Texas, when you start going north, it seem a little bit easier, because you do increase your skills in waterfowl.
Yeah. For
sure. And then when you're hunting against other guys that are around you within 75 or 100 yards, and you got to understand you have to do certain things, hit the call certain ways. You have to read ducks a little bit quicker. And those tips right there are things you'll pick up on really quick, because you'll know what you're looking for in the sky to see what you're doing right or what you're seeing or what you're doing wrong. So, for sure, you take public ground hunter, and for sure his skill level is always going to be a little sharper.
I think so too, because there's a few things there, just maybe to add on what you're saying. If you have different groups around you, and you see other groups having much more success than you are, you can look at your location, your spread, and you can look at theirs and say, okay, what is different between the two?
Right.
So you have other people's experiences to stack on yours, and then the next time. The other part too is I think there's always subtleties in hunting, exact hunting location that might lead you to success that a new hunter might not see. So through all those experiences, kind of iron sharpening iron, trying to get to the spot first, you can actually recognize a little quicker what the subtleties of the landscape are that'll lead to success. Or on private ground, let's say you don't get it quite right, but you're the only person on there. What do?
Yeah,
you just grab your decoys and you move over 100 yards, or you switch. So yeah, I do think it can teach you a lot.
And you can recover from private ground too a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? Even though you made a few mistakes, you can recover on private because you don't have the guy next to you calling at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can recover that. But the main thing I see, and the tip that I would give most young men, and the problem that I see with most of them, is concealment is number one on public ground. I think most people lose a lot of ducks because they're just not properly concealed.
Okay.
And hiding behind a tree. I always tell guys all the time, if you act like the duck's got a gun, you're not going to be standing in front of the tree or beside the tree. You're going to be behind the tree, or you're going to be tucked down in the blind, your face tucked in. You're not just going to be pie facing either when you're looking up out of a pit blind. Because the thing about a pit blind, they're looking down on you. It's a dark hole, right? Mm-hmm. And you shine up, and your bright face is shining. They see that. And they might not flare them off, but all it takes, especially on public ground, is just to lose a little bit of confidence, right? And then I'm talking about the mallard duck. Once you lose that little bit of confidence, it's so hard to regain it. He might fly around like an old buzzard several times, but he's just not coming in because he's seen that one thing that's made him lose that confidence, that he's not going to commit to come into your decoys. And if you play around with him too long, another wad comes in, he decides to leave, guess who leaves with him? All of them. So you learn sometimes, all right, we've been busted, we'll let him scoot on. Let's wait on the next one because we don't want him to mess up the next volley.
So we had a group, we were sitting in these trees, big oak trees, about shin deep water. Everything was nice that day. We had some good traffic that day, and we all spread out and got hid real well behind the trees in the shade. And we start to work the first group of ducks, and they lock up and they get to about right treetop, and then they peel out. About next time it happens, Dennis looks at me, and he'll look down the line if he can, try and see what's, and he's like, something's wrong. You need to figure out what it is. And here comes the third group, and it's only been about 6 minutes. We got third group ready to sit in here. They lock up, they dip down, they hit the treetop, and they peel out. I take about 8 steps up, and these are all experienced hunters. Take about 8 steps up, and I look down the tree line from the front side, from decoy side, from duck side, and we got the guy pulling the jerk rig sitting on like a little stump in front of the tree right by the decoys, jerking on the jerk rig.
And everybody's going to make mistakes eventually.
Yeah.
I don't care how good or high polished of a duck hunter you are. You're going to make those mistakes, and you just laugh about it and you say, "Hey, bud, you're going to have to back up, get behind that tree, and there's some things you're going to have to do, but you can." You make those adjustments and you move on, but yeah, there's concealment to me is the number one factor on public ground. Who can hide the best going to win.
That's a good tip. That absolutely a good tip. So the last several months, well, I don't know how far back I want to go, but the battle to retain public land that's been a pretty fierce fight as of late. Do you guys spend time talking to your followers, those that tune into you guys on your hunting shows or social media podcasts? Do you guys talk about teaching hunters to advocate for the future of public lands? Do you guys talk about that at all?
Probably not enough. Our focus has been getting more people to utilize the public lands. I do think with what you're talking about, everybody seemed to get engaged in that conversation. And, obviously that's not something that hit close to home per se for us. It was, you would know more about than I would, but a lot of big game type property, and there was an argument on the actual utilization of those properties. But it gets back to the regulation side of it and these slow cuts that you talk about.
Yeah.
If that happens there, it just down the road is not good for anybody else anywhere else.
Well, I think if I have not traveled internationally as a hunter, one time, but I think if for those that have not, when you leave this country and you look back, you realize how special public land is.
Right.
I mean, that's not normal.
That's
globally.
Right.
It is not at all.
That's right.
And I think right now, and just talking to the state Oklahoma representative, we've already started it in Texas, and so now on your WMAs, you got to log in and log out. Why are they doing that? Because they want to see how many people are accessing it and using it. Well, if that number goes down, it's going to be what we just saw this year, our government trying to sell it because it's not being used.
Right.
Now they're going to be able to keep a count on that and see exactly how much it's being used and when it's not being used. So, and to me, my opinion is they stuck their toe in the water just to test the temperature on trying to sell some property. And luckily we had enough people to stand up and said no, right? Mm-hmm. But eventually, if we keep decreasing our numbers, eventually we won't have a big enough voice to stop it.
Yeah, I do have a concern about that. Yeah, people say that, we want fewer hunters. I'm like, do you?
Yeah.
Maybe for your hunt tomorrow you do.
Yeah,
but what about the hunt you want in 5 years, 10 years? How about your kids?
Right.
Right? Family?
And when you need a voice to stand up to protect something and the voice is not big enough, they're going to be able to do what they want to do.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, let's spend a little time here as we're kind of moving towards the end of the conversation. Let's talk a little bit about your gear. Mm-hmm. What would you guys want the listener, if I understand it right, again, we were talking that a lot of innovations come by someone needing something or had a piece of gear that kind of failed them. But tell a little bit about you guys have the podcast, the videos, the social media presence. But talk a little bit about the gear. What niche are you guys filling there?
Right now, the journey bag that we already went over is really the biggest thing. And this whole brand and gear thing for us is really a byproduct of our desire to be passionate and successful on public ground, and to get people involved, and that high level of respect for each other that we think we should all be sharing amongst each other, the same team mentality, experiencing the journey is in its entirety. That is where all this started. And the products for us with Dr. Duck Company, and I appreciate you mentioning the podcast, Joel. We have a podcast, we have the YouTube, and as Dennis mentioned, the Realtree 365 stuff. And all of that has been a result of people asking for it. and we're very thankful for that. We're blessed to be in this position. I'm blessed to have Dennis as my hunting partner. Neither one of us probably would have got into this if it wasn't for the other 30-something years ago, and we probably would have been done with it if we weren't ding-dongs enough to continue hanging out with each other over this tenure of working together. But when you talk about the products, they're the only real sustainable outside of hats and shirts that we're doing right now is the backpack, and it is because we needed a good backpack.
Yeah.
We're going to scout. We have anybody who's listening to this who knows anything about public ground, they know what it's like to sleep in their truck seat at the ramp to make sure they get a spot. And so in all this traveling, it was imperative that we have a bag that could hold the snacks, the equipment, everything we needed to make sure we could go. Look, if he finds ducks on Wednesday, I'm probably not going to see him till I bring him a pizza or whatever else. He's going to sit on them. He's going to do whatever he has to do within the regulations, of course, to make sure he can secure that spot. So the only thing that he's had to carry with him the last several years is that bag, because everything he needs is going to fit and going to be taken care of in that bag. And we're very proud of that bag, and we're happy to have it back this year. But really, for us, the biggest thing, I mean, we just do a small, limited number of those because people ask for them, and we're very thankful for that. But it's the bigger thing for us is really to continue to, if we're not here for very long, you're well aware of that. We're here on this planet for a very short time. And if we're not having a positive impact on someone else while we're here, why are we even here? So we hope that we continue to be blessed with the platforms and the opportunities to share the message of camaraderie, and we want to offer as many tips and suggestions as we can so that everybody could be helpful and to ensure that we've got more people doing this tomorrow. I've got grandkids now. I want to make sure those grandkids have the same opportunity to experience duck hunting on public ground with their good friend like I have for mine for the last 30-something years. And that's the big thing.
I love it. I love it.
And we've been blessed, too. I'm just looking at this venue, right? We have, and the part, too, about the bag is that we felt like there's 3 or 4 companies now I'm looking at that makes great clothing. Like the clothing from when we started to where we are now,
crazy.
It is crazy. The improvement that's made that you can stay out longer in the field because you're warmer because we have better clothing. But the part that was missing in waterfowl was the bag.
Okay.
It was really the bag. So we're just trying to fill a little gap there. Probably one of these bigger guys are probably going to come in and take over that market and knock the little man out. But, hey, that's part of it. But we have fun at what we're doing, enjoying our time being at these venues and sharing time with people. That's a big part of it as well.
That's great. You know, I think when people get together and have conversations about duck hunting, there tends to be a lot of negativity, right? It just kind of is what it is. Not enough ducks, or too many hunters, or tough access, or the animal rights people, or we're declining. But let's end this discussion on a little ray of hope. What gives you guys hope for the future of hunting?
To me, and I think Billy brings this up a lot, is our goal is I can look out across this aisle and I see all these young men out there in the circle right now. A lot of them are sitting there talking, shaking hands, and having a good time. We want this to transfer to the woods as well. And so that's our goal, and that's our hope, and that's what we want to see.
And I do believe, I've also said a lot that my father, I mentioned losing him at an early age, but not before he introduced me to the outdoors. The outdoorsmen in general, the gentlemen that get involved with these organizations, the people who attend these events, who spend so much time over the course of a year outdoors, there are a lot of God-fearing people who keep a promise when they shake your hand. I mean, those outdoorsmen, those people are the good people that help keep things moving in the right direction. We live in a very crazy world. So when you ask that question, my hope is that we can continue to keep young people involved, and we could continue to develop God-fearing, word-keeping gentlemen in the outdoors that are going to take care of their families, take care of this country when we're gone, and continue to do the great things like you guys are doing with this agency to preserve hunting and this way of life. So I think that's very positive, and I think that people who even listen to this or that think about that would, I hope, share that reflection.
Yeah, no, I think so.
You know?
They say many hands make light work, and I know you have that. Is it a hashtag you guys use, same team?
Same thing.
I love it. Let's keep it up.
And just remember, that means outside your family. You know, that's the important key here. Just be that guy that's reaching outside your circle, outside your family, to somebody else's son and daughter, and take them out hunting, expose them to the outdoors, and keep growing it. You know, that's the best way we're going to do this.
Don't be selfish. We're all on the same team.
The number one problem with waterfowl today is greed. It's about me and how many ducks I can kill. And it's just sometimes I think some guys are a little bit too greedy and just kind of let that disappear. And I think if you're that guy and you catch yourself doing that, I think you'll get more satisfaction by helping somebody else than you killing all the ducks.
Yeah, I do. I think sometimes it's a little tough to describe a feeling or an observation. And I do have a concern that I feel like there's this trend towards I am owed ducks.
Yeah.
As opposed to duck hunting is a privilege
Right.
that I get to participate in, and I'd like to see more of what I just said.
Right.
As opposed to we're not owed ducks, we're not owed anything. It's a privilege.
Being grateful is a great quality to have in today's world, especially.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Hey, just on our way out here, can you let the listener know how they can access your information?
For sure. You can find Dr. Duck on all the social media platforms. We also have Dr. Duck Company, but really the best way, drduck.com. And on that website, you'll be able to find everything from where our videos live, connection links to the podcasts that we do. And, just drduck.com is the big spot to go.
What I think we should do, I think we should collaborate on one of our university hunting program mentored hunts.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
Yep, we have a whole slew of universities where we target wildlife students in Texas. That they're pursuing a wildlife management degree, but they don't hunt.
Right.
So we teach them all about hunting, and we take them on a mentored hunt. I think that would be a good idea.
That'd be awesome.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I would enjoy that opportunity.
Yeah.
That's right up your alley.
it is. I think
Yeah.
they would so benefit from the perspective. You know, and those are the future managers of the public hunting grounds. I guess administrative decision makers. And, goal number one is for them to have a positive experience and leave with a positive perspective on hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want them to keep hunting, and 98% of them do. But, yeah, I think the words that you've shared with the listeners today, I think they would be good to hear them as well.
Yeah, we'd love to be a part of that.
Well, let's continue that conversation, guys.
All right, thank you.
Well, beautiful. Thanks for your time. I know you're busy here. A lot of people want to see you, so I really appreciate the time you've given us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
for the
much,
invite.
Joe. I appreciate it.
Right on. Take care, guys.
Uh-huh.
You
Thank
bet. See ya.
Thank you.